Don't forget to like and hit subscribe, Grasshoppers. Today we decided to sit by the pool and figured we'd just get you up to speed on the other alpha models.
Okay.
AlphaFold 3 and AlphaProteo that spawned from AlphaGo.
Yeah, it's really quite something how DeepMind took this AI that just dominated the game of Go
Right.
and turned its attention to the intricate world of protein structures, AlphaFold. And now its successors have just been absolute game changers.
Yeah, you're listening to this because you want to go deeper on AlphaFold 3 and AlphaProteo.
Of course.
Get it.
Absolutely.
They're mind-blowing. But let's back up for a sec for anyone tuning in who's a bit fuzzy on the basics.
Sure.
What exactly is protein folding?
Yeah.
And why should we care about it?
Think of a protein like a long chain, and each link in that chain is a tiny building block called an amino acid.
Okay.
Now, this chain doesn't just stay straight.
Right.
It folds and twists into a very specific 3D shape.
Mm-hmm.
That shape is absolutely critical because it determines how the protein functions. It's like a key fitting into a lock.
Right.
The wrong shape, and the protein simply can't do its job.
So a misfolded protein could be behind certain diseases.
Exactly. Misfolded proteins can lead to all sorts of problems.
Oh, wow.
Understanding how proteins fold is essential for developing new drugs,
Right.
understanding diseases, and really for grasping the very fundamentals of how life works at a molecular level.
Okay, so AlphaFold really nailed predicting how these proteins fold. But AlphaFold 3, that's where things get really wild, right?
AlphaFold 3 goes beyond just predicting the structure of individual proteins.
Okay.
It can actually model the complex interactions between proteins, DNA, RNA, and even these tiny molecules called
Ligands.
A ligand is basically a molecule that binds to a protein,
Okay.
often playing a key role in its function. Think of it like a co-pilot helping to steer the protein.
Okay, got it. So we're not just talking about predicting the shape of one protein anymore.
No.
We're talking about predicting how all these different molecules, proteins, DNA, RNA, ligands,
Right.
all fit together in 3D.
Exactly.
That sounds insanely complicated.
It is incredibly complex.
Wow.
Imagine trying to solve a massive multidimensional jigsaw puzzle where the pieces are constantly moving and interacting.
Oh, geez.
That's kind of what AlphaFold 3 is doing. It's
Right.
predicting how all these pieces fit together in a dynamic, constantly changing environment.
Wow.
To do that, it uses something called tokens.
Tokens, like you'd use in a board game.
In a sense, yes.
Okay.
It's like giving the AI a language to understand these molecules. Each token represents a specific molecule or component
Well,
carrying information about its properties and structure.
interesting.
This allows AlphaFold 3 to process and analyze these complex molecular interactions in a way that's remarkably accurate.
So AlphaFold 3 gets all this information of the different molecules.
Yes.
It uses tokens to kind of translate it into something it understands.
Right.
But then what? How does it actually predict the structure of all these interactions?
It's a multi-stage process.
Okay.
First, AlphaFold 3 takes the input sequences of these molecules, sort of like their blueprints, and embeds them with tons of relevant information.
Okay.
It pulls information from vast databases of protein sequences and structures,
Right.
incorporating evolutionary relationships and known structural motifs.
Okay, so it's gathering intel context before it
Yeah.
starts actually predicting how things fit together.
Exactly. Then comes the core processing stage.
Okay.
This is where things get really interesting.
Right.
The AI creates what are called pair and single representations.
Pair and single.
Yeah.
Okay.
These representations capture the relationships between different molecules
Okay.
and the individual characteristics of each molecule and its components.
Gotcha.
Think of the pair representation as figuring out how different pieces of the puzzle might fit together,
Right.
while the single representation focuses on the unique shape and properties of each individual piece.
So it's analyzing both the relationships between the pieces
Yeah.
and the individual characteristics of each piece. Got it.
Exactly.
Then what?
Finally, the AI uses a method called diffusion to actually predict the structure.
Okay.
It's sort of like starting with a blurry image and slowly bringing it into focus.
Oh, interesting.
The AI begins with a random noisy configuration and then iteratively refines it step by step
Yeah.
until it arrives at a coherent 3D structure.
Wow.
It's a beautiful blend of brute force computation and elegant mathematical modeling.
It's like sculpting the structure from a cloud of possibilities.
Exactly.
Now, you mentioned something earlier that caught my attention, pair representation.
Yeah.
You said that's especially intriguing in AlphaFold 3.
Right.
What makes it so different from its predecessors?
AlphaFold 3 utilizes triangular attention, which essentially ensures that the relationships between these molecular pieces make sense, that they're actually plausible.
Gotcha.
Imagine building a triangle.
Uh-huh.
You can't just choose any 3 lengths for the sides. They have to follow certain geometric rules to actually form a triangle.
Right. 2 sides have to add up to be longer than the third side.
Precisely. AlphaFold 3 applies a similar logic to ensure its predictions are structurally sound.
Okay.
It constantly checks the relationships between the pieces, making sure they can actually fit together in 3D space.
So it's like the AI has an internal geometry checker
Yes.
that makes sure it's not creating impossible structures.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But we've been talking a lot about AlphaFold 3 and predicting structure.
Right.
There's another player in this game, right? AlphaProteo.
Yes. AlphaProteo represents a whole other level of capability.
Okay.
Instead of just predicting protein structures, it can actually design them.
Oh, wow.
Specifically, it can design proteins that can bind to other proteins,
Okay.
which opens up incredible possibilities.
Okay, now that's where things start to sound like science fiction. Designing proteins. What does that even mean?
Imagine being able to create custom-designed proteins that can perform very specific tasks. Okay.
Think about designing a protein that could bind to a cancer cell and deliver a targeted drug.
Wow.
Or a protein that could repair damaged tissue. Or even a protein that could break down pollutants in the environment.
Wow, okay, now you're talking.
Yeah.
But is this all just theoretical?
Well,
Can AlphaProteo actually design proteins that work in the real world?
that's the amazing part.
Okay.
Not only can AlphaProteo design proteins with exceptional accuracy,
Right.
but DeepMind went a step further and created a lab to actually test these designs in real-world experiments.
Oh, wow.
They wanted to see if these digitally designed proteins could function as intended in a biological setting.
So they took it out of the computer and into the lab. What were the results?
The results were astonishing.
Okay.
AlphaProteo was able to design protein binders that were anywhere from 3 to 300 times better than those designed using traditional methods.
Wow.
And these weren't just theoretical designs.
Right.
They were tested in the lab with a remarkable success rate.
Ranging from 9 to 88%.
Wow. That's a pretty wide range.
Yeah.
But even the lower end is still impressive.
It is. These results are a powerful testament to the transformative potential of AI in biology and medicine.
Yeah.
We're witnessing a paradigm shift in how we understand and manipulate the building blocks of life.
It's mind-blowing to think that we can now design molecules with such precision and effectiveness.
It is.
And you mentioned earlier that DeepMind has actually made all of their research freely available to the scientific community.
Yes, they have.
That's incredible. It's a gift to humanity.
It's a testament to their commitment to advancing scientific progress and making these breakthroughs accessible to everyone.
Okay, I'm officially blown away. We've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We started with AlphaGo,
Right.
then dove into AlphaFold's revolutionary protein folding prediction,
Yeah.
and now we've explored the mind-blowing capabilities of AlphaFold 3 and AlphaProteo.
Absolutely.
But before we get too carried away,
Sure.
I have a question.
What's that?
We're talking about some pretty powerful stuff here.
We are.
Designing proteins, understanding the complexities of life at a molecular level.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it leads us to a crucial aspect of this whole discussion.
Okay.
What does the future hold for AI in biology and medicine?
Right.
What are the potential implications, both positive and, well, maybe not so positive?
Okay, now we're getting into the really deep stuff.
Yes.
This is where things get really interesting.
It is. Because
I know.
as we unlock these incredible capabilities,
Right.
we also have to grapple with the responsibility that comes with them.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Power without responsibility can lead to chaos.
absolutely.
We need to make sure these powerful tools are used for good.
We do.
We'll have to dive into that in the next part of our deep dive.
We will.
And I think you and all the grasshoppers listening out there will be surprised by just how much there is to uncover.
I think so too.
You heard it here first, folks. Make sure you're back for part 2 of this deep dive into the world of AlphaFold 3 and AlphaProteo.
It'll be good.
Things are about to get really interesting.
They are. We've been talking about these incredible breakthroughs,
Yeah.
and it's easy to get swept up in the excitement of it all.
For sure.
But we have to remember that with great power comes great responsibility.
That's so true.
Yeah.
It's like we're standing at the edge of a new frontier,
Uh-huh.
and we need to be careful not to stumble and fall as we take those first steps.
Exactly. As we delve deeper into the world of AI-driven biology and medicine,
Right.
we have to be mindful of the potential consequences.
Okay, so let's talk about those consequences.
Yeah.
What are some of the things we need to be cautious about as AI becomes more powerful and sophisticated in these fields?
Well, one thing that immediately comes to mind
Yeah,
is the potential for unintended consequences.
right.
We're dealing with incredibly complex systems here,
Mm.
and it's impossible to predict with certainty how these AI systems will behave in every situation.
So it's like trying to control a force of nature.
Yeah.
You might be able to harness its power, but you can never fully predict how it will act.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
These AI systems are trained on massive amounts of data,
Right.
and they learn and adapt in ways that we don't always fully understand.
Uh-huh.
There's always the risk that they might do something unexpected, something that could have negative consequences.
That's a bit unsettling.
Huh?
What kind of negative consequences are we talking about here?
Oh.
Give me an example.
For instance, imagine using an AI system to design a new drug.
Okay.
It might identify a molecule that seems incredibly promising in simulations,
Right.
but when it's actually tested in humans, it turns out to have unforeseen side effects
Uh-huh.
that could be harmful.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's all about thorough testing
Yes.
and being cautious about deploying these AI systems in real-world settings where the stakes are high.
Exactly.
What else should we be thinking about?
Another important consideration is the potential for bias. These AI systems are trained on data,
Right.
and if that data is biased,
Mhm.
the AI's outputs will be biased as well.
Right.
This is a major concern in healthcare,
Yeah.
where biased AI could lead to disparities in treatment or diagnosis,
Right.
further exacerbating existing inequalities.
So we need to make sure these AI systems are trained on data that is representative of the diversity of human populations.
Yes.
We can't just feed them data that reflects existing biases.
Exactly. And it's not just about the data itself. We
Right.
also need to think about who is developing these AI systems,
Right.
who is controlling them, and who is benefiting from them.
Right.
Are these technologies being developed and deployed in a way that serves all of humanity,
Yeah.
or are they primarily benefiting a select few?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
And it brings up another concern that's been on my mind. Access and affordability.
Uh-huh.
These AI technologies are incredibly powerful,
Right.
but they're also expensive to develop and deploy.
They-
Will everyone have equal access to these advancements,
Right.
or will they only be available to those who can afford them?
That's a critical point.
Yeah.
We have to make sure that these technologies don't further widen the gap between the haves and the have-nots.
Right.
We need to find ways to make them accessible and affordable to everyone,
Yeah.
regardless of their socioeconomic status.
So we're talking about a lot of potential pitfalls here.
We are.
It can be easy to get overwhelmed by all the things that could go wrong.
Yeah, it's true.
But we also have to remember the incredible potential of these technologies.
Of course.
We've talked about how AlphaFold 3 can predict protein structures with amazing accuracy,
Mm-hmm.
and how AlphaProteo can actually design proteins that work in the real world.
Right.
Those are huge breakthroughs.
They are, and we're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
Wow.
These technologies have the potential to revolutionize healthcare, agriculture, environmental science, and countless other fields. We could develop new drugs and therapies, create more sustainable food sources, and even engineer solutions to some of the most pressing environmental challenges facing our planet.
Okay, that's a lot to take in. On one hand, we have these incredible tools that could solve some of humanity's biggest problems.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there's the potential for unintended consequences, bias, and unequal access.
Yes.
It's a complex landscape.
It is. And it's important that we approach this landscape with both enthusiasm and caution.
Right.
We need to embrace the potential of AI
Yeah.
while also being mindful of the risks.
Uh-huh.
We need to have open and honest conversations about these challenges involving diverse voices and perspectives.
It sounds like we need a roadmap, a guide for how to navigate this new frontier responsibly.
I think so.
How do we ensure that these powerful technologies are used for good?
Well, one crucial step is to establish clear ethical guidelines for the development and deployment of AI in biology and medicine. We need to think deeply about the values and principles that should guide these advancements.
Right.
And we need to create frameworks that ensure these technologies are used in a way that benefits all of humanity.
That makes sense. It's like establishing a set of rules to ensure fair play.
Right.
But who should be responsible for creating these rules?
Well,
And how do we make sure they're actually followed?
that's a great question. And there are no easy answers. It will require collaboration between scientists, policymakers, ethicists, and the public.
Wow.
We need to engage in open and transparent dialogues,
Right.
listening to diverse perspectives and finding common ground.
Uh-huh.
We need to create mechanisms for accountability and oversight,
Okay.
ensuring that these technologies are developed and used responsibly.
So it's not just about the technology itself.
No.
It's about the people who are creating it,
Yes.
the people who are using it, and the people who are impacted by it.
Exactly.
We need to be mindful of the social and ethical implications of these advancements.
Yeah, absolutely. And we need to recognize that this is an ongoing conversation as AI continues to evolve.
Right.
We need to be constantly reevaluating our ethical frameworks, adapting to new challenges, and ensuring that these technologies remain aligned with our values and goals.
It's a lot to think about.
It is.
But it's essential that we have these conversations.
We do.
We can't just blindly embrace these technologies without considering the potential consequences.
Right.
We need to be thoughtful, deliberate, and proactive in shaping the future of AI in biology and medicine.
Exactly. And I think that's a perfect segue into the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
Because as we look to the future, there's one question that looms larger than all the others.
Okay.
What does all of this mean for you, for me, for all of us?
Okay, now you've got me hooked.
Yeah.
We've talked about the science, we've talked about the potential, we've talked about the risks.
Yes.
But what does it all mean for the average person? How will these advancements affect our lives? I guess we'll find out in part 3.
We will. And I think you'll find it's more relevant and perhaps even more personal than you might expect. Stay tuned, grasshoppers. This deep dive isn't over yet.
All right, we're back. We've explored the amazing capabilities of AlphaFold 3 and AlphaProteo, and we've delved into some of the potential risks and challenges.
Yes.
But now for the big question. What does all of this mean for us, for everyday people? What impact will these AI advancements actually have on our lives?
That's the question, isn't it? And the answer is both exciting and a bit uncertain.
Yeah.
But one thing is for sure. These technologies are going to have a profound impact on our lives in ways we can only begin to imagine.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Give me a glimpse into the future.
Okay.
What are some of the ways these advancements could affect us in the coming years?
Well, let's start with healthcare.
Okay.
Imagine a world where diseases are diagnosed earlier and more accurately.
Right.
Where treatments are personalized to your unique genetic makeup.
Wow.
And where new drugs and therapies are developed at an unprecedented pace. That's the promise of AI-driven medicine.
So we're talking about a future where healthcare is more effective, more personalized, and potentially even more affordable.
Yes. And it goes beyond just treating diseases.
Okay.
AI could also play a major role in preventative healthcare, helping us identify risk factors and make lifestyle changes to prevent diseases from developing in the first place.
Okay, that's huge. So AI could help us live longer, healthier lives.
Absolutely.
What about other areas? How could these advancements impact fields like, say, agriculture or environmental science?
In agriculture, AI could help us develop more sustainable farming practices, create crops that are more resistant to pests and diseases, and optimize food production to feed a growing global population.
Right.
Imagine a future where food shortages are a thing of the past.
Wow, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
And what about environmental science? Could AI help us address some of the pressing environmental challenges we're facing?
Absolutely. AI could be used to monitor and model climate change, develop renewable energy sources, and even create solutions for cleaning up pollution and restoring damaged ecosystems.
Wow.
Imagine a future where we live in harmony with nature, powered by clean energy and surrounded by thriving ecosystems.
Okay, you've painted a pretty optimistic picture of the future.
I have.
But it's hard not to be a little bit skeptical.
Sure.
Are these advancements really going to live up to the hype?
It's a good question.
Are we really on the cusp of a technological revolution that will solve all of our problems?
Well, I wouldn't say it's going to solve all of our problems.
Okay.
But I do believe we're at a pivotal moment in history.
Right.
AI is advancing at an incredible pace, and it has the potential to transform our world in profound ways.
Yeah.
But it's up to us to ensure that these advancements are used for good.
I hear that it's not enough to just develop powerful technologies.
Right.
We have to think carefully about how they're used, who benefits from them,
Absolutely.
and what impact they have on society as a whole.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to have these conversations,
Right.
to raise awareness and to engage the public in shaping the future of AI.
Yeah.
We need to ensure that these technologies are developed and deployed in a way that aligns with our values and goals,
Right.
in a way that benefits all of humanity.
So what can we do? What role can the average person play in shaping the future of AI?
First and foremost, stay informed.
Okay.
Learn about these technologies, understand their potential and their risks, and engage in conversations about their implications.
Yeah.
You can read articles, listen to podcasts like this one, and
Right.
attend events and workshops.
Okay, so step one, educate ourselves.
What else?
Support organizations and initiatives that are working to ensure responsible AI development.
There are many groups out there advocating for ethical guidelines, data privacy, and equitable access to AI technologies.
So support the good guys.
Yeah.
Got it. Anything else we can do?
Talk to your elected officials.
Yep.
Let them know that you care about these issues,
Right.
and urge them to support policies that promote responsible AI development and deployment.
All right, so stay informed, support good organizations, and make our voices heard.
Yes,
That sounds like a plan.
it's a good start.
Right.
Remember, the future of AI is not predetermined.
Okay.
It's something we are all actively shaping.
Right.
And by being informed, engaged, and proactive, we can help ensure that these technologies are used for good,
Yeah.
creating a brighter future for ourselves and generations to come.
Well, that's a hopeful note to end on. I have to admit, I was a bit skeptical at first.
I understand.
But after diving deep into the world of AlphaFold 3 and AlphaProteo,
Yeah,
I'm actually feeling pretty optimistic about the future.
as am I. These are truly remarkable times.
They are.
And I believe that if we approach these advancements with wisdom, foresight, and a commitment to the common good, we can harness the power of AI to create a world that is healthier, more sustainable, and more just for all.
That's a future I can get behind. All right, Grasshoppers, that's a wrap for our deep dive into the world of AlphaFold 3 and AlphaProteo.
It's been fun.
We've explored the science, the potential, and the ethical considerations.
Absolutely.
It's been a wild ride. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends.
Please do.
Until next time, keep those brains buzzing.